Hey all, we're at Bristol for the Xfinity series, and we're in the lead, 18 laps to go. Got a good setup for Bristol. I should do a setup video for it, shouldn't I? Well, I think I'm done with Atlanta for now, because I haven't finalized my Cup setup there. You run the Cup car differently, you know. 450 horsepower as opposed to 550 in the trucks and the Xfinity. So you need a more Daytona-like or Talladega-like setup for it. Being in the gas more, and, you know, holding it open all the way around, kind of thing. Not that you have to, but having more of a setup like that helps. And I think I run real good in Cup at Atlanta. I won online. I won, in quick races. I won in at 105 or super competition mode. I won in career, both the 1x career and the 2x career. So I know it's a good setup, but is it good enough? Is it, as good as these setups that I posted for Atlanta. So when I feel that way with the setup, that's when I'll make a setup that
You got room. You're clear. You got room. You're clear.
maybe better than I think I am, but I have standards that I'd like to keep to.
Clear high, clear high.
So here we are at Bristol, and as you can see, I can go high, I can go low. I watched the video and I was disappointed. It didn't show where I went 3 wide, through half the field. Because you can go 3 wide at Bristol online. Bristol offline. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing it online because the AI is predictable. People aren't as much or predictable as much, and that's a good thing, 3 wide middle, 3 wide outside, 3 wide inside. You can do it at Bristol if you have a good enough setup that drives well enough so you can put the car or truck where you want it to. And especially in lap traffic, here, at Bristol, one of the issues is everything happens so fast. It's like, when you're in there and you got a really good setup and you're going fast, it's like the walls are whipping past you. And it's almost like driving flying an airplane or something. Somebody once said it's like, an F-14 in a gymnasium. Yeah, it is. And like we were qualifying at Eldora earlier, and it's kind of like the same kind of thing. You got to get into a rhythm. You got to get into the Bristol mindset. It's one of those tracks that if you are able to just switch and get in there, and your first lap is like the fastest lap ever, that's awesome. Most people can't do that. I can't do that. I mean, I'm not gonna suck driving Bristol like that, but you really need a few laps to get in. And I'm the kind of driver that the longer the race, the better I'll be, kind of thing. Regardless of the setup, I'll always pick up some time over the length of the race. I run full races, so this plays right into my strength, kind of thing. Short races online, not so much, And somehow here I've noticed that long runs. This is a short run. Long runs. All the setups I have at Bristol tend to go loose. So if you notice, I've got a very balanced, kind of setup. Still don't engage the left rear, which I'm sure with more work on all NASCAR Heat 4 setups, I know I'm close to figuring that part out, possibly, but I'm closer than I was 3 months ago. So, it just takes time and practice. To me, practice doesn't mean practice, it means racing. The more racing you do, the more you will learn. period. How your car acts with 40-lap-old tires is much more important than the first lap in practice. You know, you learn so much more. So what did I get? 103, yeah. See, Bristol is one of those tracks that you don't have to have the fastest car to win, but you got to be in it, not wrecked. So you got to keep your nose clean, and you got to have a setup that allows you to put the car where you need it to be as much of the run as possible. You know, I think we're 80 lap runs in the Xfinity series, or the last stage is like 80, or no, a little over 100 laps. And, you know, you really need a setup to stay under you for that long. And that's hard to find one, and find one that's fast. You know, I love Bristol, and I could not race Bristol in the NASCAR 13, 14, 15 series the way they had it. It's just, I got so discouraged, I just basically just passed, you know, on Bristol. I ran probably 1,000 practice laps there and bunches of quick races, and just no way, you know, it just could not get a handle on it there. But in heat 3 and 4, I found something in 3 in the trucks, and it translated to all the series. And in heat 4, it seemed to fall into my lap more. And so, always grateful for situations like that. And as you can see here, you know, I'm in third. Here we go, 3 wide for the lead. Come on, there we go, second. Yeah, I like Bristol. And Bristol is the kind of track that when you have a good setup, it's fun. And, you know, that's what racing is. When everything is working, it's fun. And you can't, for me, you can't find much better than that. If it's not for you, nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? I like Talladega just as much as I like Bristol, or Martinsville, or Watkins Glen, or, you know, any of the other tracks. I like all the tracks. Am I better on some tracks? Yes. Am I not so good on some tracks that I wish I was? Of course. But the only way I'm going to get better is to race. You know, race on those tracks. Longer runs. If you're working on setups and fine-tuning, you go a long run. A lot of times, a problem with your setup will show up over a long run, but you'll never know about it under a short run. And sometimes when you get to fine-tuning, you need to run longer runs, you know. So run a 40-lap, you know, quick race, or 30-lap quick race. You know, whatever, like, a full tire run is at that track. You know, get close to it where you don't have to pit. And that's more telling, but that means you're putting in time. Yes, time is important. You know, you can run 1,000 online, you know, races, you know, at 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 laps, 13 laps. It's not as valuable as one run at 40 laps or so, you know. You'll learn things that you'll never learn in shorter races. You might learn how to make your car better in the short term, but again, there's things that show up on the long run that you just will not show up, especially on sim racing. You know, and I know they're there, and I've, you know, banged my head against the wall for much longer than I'll probably admit, but for decades. You know, you get to a track and it's like you can't get past that point, and it'll drive you nuts. And sometimes you just gotta learn. You know, I'm not gonna have the fastest car in qualifying, but I can qualify in the top 5, and I can be in the lead, you know, 20 laps into a run. Well, that's awesome. It doesn't get much better than that. Yes, it's possible to get beyond that point, but how? I don't know. I get to, you know, around there, and you know, we're good to go. You know, I can win. If I can get a setup that I know I can win, what else am I going to do? I mean, how many leagues run 10% races? You know? Because, you know, like, there's 300 laps here, so that's a 30-lap race. You know, and even that's 30 laps. So you got to be good at the end of 30 laps, right? That's a different thing than being fast for 5 laps. You know, even in a crappy setup, most people, you know, who know how to drive the cars and trucks, you could be fast for 5. I could be fast for 5 laps in a default setup. I can win. I've won. You know, I don't like it because the car truck's not really doing what I want it to do in a custom setup. But, you know, you can manage it because I've also raced full races where I'm down at the end of a run and the car's handling like total garbage. And I just gotta hang on, and you figure out how to do it, you know, and you'll never figure that part out if you don't run longer runs, you know, kind of thing. And I know not everybody has time and whatnot, but if you're missing something, it can't always be gotten in somebody else's, quote, better setup. Sometimes it's just you need to experience it, and then it's like, oh, you know, kind of like a light bulb going off. It's like, oh, that's how that works. Oh, that, you know, whatever happens, you know, kind of thing. Oh, I hit 51. Yay, I'm amazing, aren't I? Yeah. Anyway, the cool thing is 48 of those 50 wins are on asphalt. Thank you, Eric. And all full length races.
50 wins. That's unbelievable.
I'm proud of that part of it.
No, like, I mean, seriously, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, most of my wins are full length. When it's called racing.
50 wins? Are you kidding me? How is it even possible? I want to know.
Well, this is what you can expect when you get to 50 wins. Whether it's 50 online wins, or it's 50 career wins, or it's 50 quick race wins, all of them count towards your total.
That's unbelievable. I don't know how you're doing all this.
I'd prefer separate stats, like career separate,
nice job.
quick race separate, you know, season wins separate, online wins separate.
That's awesome. How
but
are you winning
that's
all
not
these
how
races?
the stats go here. I'm stealing most of them. Strategy. But you know what? If I wasn't in a position to win, which is hard work, you know, or putting the time in, putting the effort in, putting the laps in the races, you know, not that you don't need to practice, but once you race enough, you get into the next race's practice and you approach it differently. It's like, well, this is what I'm looking for here. And then you can kind of translate what that means in practice, but you still got to race it to go through it. Well, thank you guys again. Like, subscribe, comment, do anything you want. Please just don't do nothing. And there'll be more to come. Keep rolling all.